All right, how do I calculate the area of a trapezoid? Well, let's talk about what a trapezoid is first. It's a shape that looks like this, obviously. It's got one pair of parallel sides. So unlike a parallelogram, trapezoids only have one pair of parallel sides. Which two sides on this trapezoid here are parallel? Well, it's obviously this one and this one. If I continued this one and this one out, they would eventually run into each other. So they're obviously not parallel. The two sides that are parallel to each other are called the bases. So I'm going to call that base 1. And this one down here I'm going to call base 2. There's a height of a trapezoid. And that's just the distance between the two bases. So it'd be like from this point right here, if I drew, this is not a straight line. If I drew a straight line from one base perpendicular to the other base, here is the height of the trapezoid. And then these other two sides that are not parallel to each other are called legs. I could call this one leg 2, and I can call this one leg 1. Anyway, that's the parts of a trapezoid. So if we move it down a little further, I have here for you the formula for calculating the area of a trapezoid. And so it's pretty simple. I'm going to take whatever the height of the trapezoid is. I'm going to multiply that by the two bases added together. And then once I've done all that, I'm going to divide my answer by 2. And that's going to tell me the area of a trapezoid. So let's do some examples. Number 1 here wants to know the area of the windshield basically on this car. And so there's kind of a trapezoid created here by the windshield. It's saying that like the bottom of the windshield and the top of the windshield, those are going to be my two bases. One of them is 72, one of them is 85, and then it's given me a height here of 38. So if I want to know the area, the height goes first, that's 38, times the two bases added together, so base 1 and base 2 added together. Once I've done all that, I'm going to divide it by 2. So what do I have to do first? Easiest way to do is add what you have in the parentheses first, and that's technically the way that we would go if we were following the order of operations. So I'm going to have 38 times 72 plus 85, which is going to be 157. Still dividing by 2 at the end. For 38 times 157, I'm going to use a calculator. 5,966. So the last step is just divide that by 2. 2983. So my answer here, 2,983 square inches. That is the area of this windshield. In other words, that's how much sort of glass there is in the windshield of this car. Next one, you can see here that it gave me the two bases, but it did not give me the height. It's given me an X for the height right now. The other thing it gave me in the problem itself is the area. So let's think about this. What it's actually wanting me to find is X. It's looking for me to find X. It wants to know the height of this trapezoid, in other words. So instead of solving for A, or area, we're going to solve for X, which is just H. So area of a trapezoid is height times B1 plus B2 over 2. The 2 never changes. So let's kind of copy that over here, but instead of putting the variables in, let's put the information I know. So I know the area of this trapezoid is 78. And that's equal to the height, which right now I have is X, times the two bases added together. So 6.4 plus 13. And then that whole thing is divided by 2. Okay, well what's the first thing I need to do if I want to get X eventually by itself? This X right here is jumbled together with all this other stuff. I have to somehow peel away that other stuff to get X by itself. First thing I would do is get rid of this 2 down here. When I want to get rid of a fraction, I multiply by the denominator on both sides. So on the left side, I would have 2 times 78, which is going to be 156. And that's going to leave x times 6.4 plus 13 on the other side. Rather than doing that in 2 separate steps, let's just add 6.4 and 13 right now. That's going to be 19.4. Okay, so I've simplified quite a bit right there. Now what I have is I have x times 19.4. I want to get x by itself, so I have to undo the multiplication that I would be doing right here with division. So to get rid of the 19.4 over here, I'm going to divide both sides by 19.4, and that's going to tell me what x is equal to. So I need 156 divided by 19.4. And it's about 8. We'll just call it 8. So the height of this trapezoid is just 8.